Hi, my name is Jeff Pagano, and welcome to the Harpin and Rugby preview show. Joining me to look ahead to Leinster's URC opener is someone back for cap number 64. Hello to Mr. Neil Keego Keegan.
How are we? I hope everyone is well. I don't know what to wear to these podcasts anymore, but yes, we're back to it already. No
That's
time to grieve. Let's go.
indeed. Yeah, well, we're going to be focusing on the URC, but I suppose we can't really move on until we harp a bit on last weekend. We shared your take immediately after the match on our YouTube page. How have you been since?
Sounds like a dog has died.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've been all right. I've been up and down. I think like the things that are happening outside of the game are making me understand where we were in terms of the grand scheme of things. New Zealand are still talking about us like we turned them down. They asked us to go to the Devs and we turned them down. That shows what it means to beat Ireland, which, okay, that's great. It means nothing in the grand scheme of things. The backlash afterwards kind of peaked and came down pretty quickly. It policed itself quite well. Our friend Ewan McKenna tried to have a go and then he kind of shut down pretty quick. I'm good at, obviously, like everyone is good at, there were things as I actually watched it again and I really shouldn't have. It's actually a little bit better second time watching it.
I agree. I was the same. Yep. No, I was the same on the second watch. Yep.
And like at elite sport, whether it's in the blue jersey or the green jersey, Leinster are 2 points over 2 years. Ireland are 4 points in a quarterfinal against a team that played their best game in 4 years. Simple things we didn't do right. Like there was a lot of time going into contact and we were slow to get in there. That's obviously there was a decision made for that to be the case because it happened multiple times. I did not understand the scrum. I really didn't get it, especially when Porter folds someone up, they reset and push again. But again, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I think the main thing to take away is the job the team did, the markers that the team hit over the last 2 years, 3 years, have been immense. And it's the worry now is no, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think much is going to change. There'll be new players coming in. We'll speak about a few of them today, but there'll be more players coming in to bolster that. But it was right there. As soon as Shaggy said, if not now, when, I'm kind of going, when? You know what I mean? Like we wanted that side of the draw. We wanted the tough games and we got them. And, they left everything out. What was the phrase? They died with their boots on. No one died. So we go again. I'll take the jersey off this weekend and we'll slip into the blue one as we get moving. But look, I've been toasting the team, the management, the supporters who were over there, the supporters on the couches here. Immense all round. Let's
And
not
the
give up the
supporters at
place.
the airport when they came back, that was
Oh,
good
it
to
was
see. We got
magic.
a good
Absolute
reception.
magic.
Yeah.
And it's good for them as well to see how important, how great it was for us. And we'll go again. We'll go again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the like you say, the tough thing getting through the week wasn't so much. I mean, you expect the slagging from outside of Ireland, but it was the stuff from Irish, some Irish. I won't call them fans, I suppose, supporters, whatever. I suppose that was the hardest to take. But like you say, nobody died. It is a game at the end of the day, and that's why we support it. I mean, our 8-year-old was inconsolable at the full time whistle because she could see how upset we were.
Yeah.
But that's what I think that jars you back into it, and you teach a lesson that we put our emotions into it. That's why we love it. But it is only a game at the end of the day. But the other thing is that when you look at that match in perspective, it was what you said there is that New Zealand, it was a big deal for them to beat us. And when you realize that that's the focus on the game, when you take the hoodoo thing out of it, the quarterfinal thing out of it,
Yeah.
to have gotten to that stage where we were the team to beat, we were the team with the targets on our back, and they were the ones looking to overturn stuff that had gone previous. I mean, it's not an achievement in itself you can bring home to the bank. There's no trophy for that, but that's how far we've come. And who's to say we can't bring it further? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, look, now it's time we'll get on with our feature match of the week, which is, of course, Glasgow Warriors v Leinster in round one of the 23-24 United Rugby Championship. It's taking place at the Scottstown Stadium on Sunday, October 22nd, kicking off at 4 p.m. TV coverage in Ireland is on RTE2, Premier Sports 1, and URC.tv. And as ever, you can find the full listings for the weekend on the harpinonrugby.com. Just click the Rugby on TV tab. Leinster named their match day 23 at lunchtime on Friday. If you're watching on YouTube, it's right there in the screen. Or for pod listeners, it's in the program notes. Keego has a few things he wants to go over first. First of all, it's how he integrates the returning players.
Well, this is it. It was interesting. As soon as the match was over last week, I can't remember who, maybe it was Matt Williams. I can't remember. but he was talking about how each of the he was talking about Leinster, how they're going to be integrated back in, because there's a huge amount of work being done by the team while everyone was away, and that's great. You see a lot of them on the pitch now on Sunday, which is great. But how are we going to bring back the Van der Fleers, all these kind of players back into the fold? Do some of them need a holiday? Do some of them need to jump in straight away? We all know when we go through something, sometimes you need to get back on the horse. Sometimes you need to kick the horse down the road a little bit. Not metaphorically. So it appears that there's good the converse. I think a couple of the lads were back in training this week. And actually it's great to see Keane Healy back in there training and moving around again, which is insane. And so it's going to be interesting to see over the next between now and Christmas, between now and the Munster game, I suppose, which is the middle of next month and the next month. It's going to be interesting to see where the guys slot back in, because you would think that by the time we hit that Munster game, a lot of them would have to be back in and moving. So not just their first game back. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on. Like I thought someone like Ross Byrne maybe would kind of get a look in because of the relative minutes in boots that he has within him. But again, maybe a reset is good. But that's going to be something that I'm looking forward to watching over the next what are we, month and 2 days until the Munster game, seeing where the guys are going to be slotted back in on the way back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at what other countries have done. I mean, Finn Russell was on the bench for Bath the following
Yeah,
week after we put them out, and I'd say maybe the plan was to let Leinster go with the players they've been training with, in the hope, at least when they made the plan, that Ireland would still be playing this weekend and those players wouldn't be ready. So they kind of leave the player, tell the players ahead of time that they're going to start, and they're going to get some game time over the next couple of weeks, and it's a decent enough lineup as it is. But obviously, it is a job to integrate those players back in. So it'll be interesting to see how they do it.
absolutely.
But let's move on to your next point, which is these new starters
Yeah.
and the new names we're seeing in the lineup.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff, and it's exactly what we need. Coming off that thing we're not going to talk about anymore. The excitement of this team that's been named for the weekend. Now, Hugh Gordon on Twitter put up a thread of players to watch, age 22 and under. And when you read through them, their names you recognize, their names who have experience, their names who have played in under 20s World Cups, things like that. So Jamie Osborne is one we've known. He's only I keep forgetting how young he still is, because he broke through years ago, and now he's actually gotten quite big, gotten quite good. So better, not good, but he's only 21. You know what I mean? You got Prendergast, obviously he's only 20. I'm just reading these off here. James Callan, 20, a back rower at the age of 20. Like, that's insane. Jack Boyle, but he's only 20. We're looking at these players mixing in with now Frawley's, he's a semi-final, final Heineken Cup player, but like he's got there with his experience. I'm just looking on the other side. Luke McGrath is still there doing a job. Harry Byrne, the pressure on Harry Byrne this year with the big man marching off. So, there's a lot of interesting things happening, but there's a lot of excitement in that team that I have on my other screen. Like McKee, Clarkson, Maloney's unsung for 100 years. I can feel myself getting more and more excited. And I think I love watching Jason Jenkins play. I think he's an absolute animal, not quite going to move up to the green jersey, but he's doing a job there, similar to Brad Thorne, in the similar position way back in the day. So a lot of these new players who are coming in are very, very young. And if there's, let's say 10, 11 of them, 4 or 5 of them have already had Heineken Cup ball. And a lot of them have already been circulating around the Irish training squad. So it's another example of, they keep talking about the Leinster conveyor belt. These guys have been brought forward, forensically, point by point, so that when they get called up for the big games, they're ready to rock. And like, I love watching Prendergast, as we all do. He's going to get a lot of opportunities now over the next 24 months, because I think if we're looking at Australia World Cup, he's one of the players that in 2 years, 2 more years of high quality knockout rugby, he's another great one for hopefully Andy Farrell to pick in the next squad.
Yeah, absolutely. And your final point is about how the team evolved over the summer. We had a case where coaches like Andrew Goodman was with Samoa, and we all know Stu. Stu has moved on, and we've got a new lad who's still kind of busy over there in France at the moment. So it hasn't been the full coaching ticket for Leo to work on these through the preseason, but it would be interesting to see what they come up with when the season kicks off.
Absolutely, because much like every team, there's stuff going to be happening in the background while watching the World Cup. So it's almost live updates of whatever they were planning. Because there's a lot of stuff. Even the South Africa France game, a lot of different tricks that they were using. I did love. Sorry to go back to that, but I did love the J4 trick of chasing down the any penalty, any conversion. That's a J4 thing that we all try and do. So, but anyway, back to Leinster. So Leo's been working away in the background here, not by himself, but he's the only one in the office right now. So it'll be interesting to see what has happened since we last kind of put on the blue jersey, what they're going to do, what the changes they're going to make, because everyone is going to be, even though what happened last year, Leinster were the team to beat. You beat Leinster, you're in the shop window of getting some silverware. So everyone is looking at Leinster. So what are we doing now to upgrade the software? As Coach Kavanagh used to say, upgrade the software. So it'll be interesting to see how the World Cup feeds into that. Maybe certain things will be tweaked and changed as we go. Again, I think if we look at the Munster game next month as the real start of our season, what we should be seeing with the players that are picked for this Sunday, certainly with the guys bringing back their Scottish internationals, or a few of them, we now have a real game as opposed to a two teams still in the World Cup or something like that. This is a real game where they're going to be firing properly, and we will get to see the upgrades on what's been happening over the summer.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, because when you look through the team, I mean, even without the returning internationals, I mean, everywhere. You look at the back three: Larmour, Tommy O'Brien.
Yeah.
I mean, O'Brien's been had bad injury problems over the year. He'd be much further on now if he'd gotten more game time. Frawley was just a hair's breadth away from the World Cup squad himself. It's great to see Charlie back in the team. We didn't really see him in the preseason. We were wondering, and him and Liam Turner make a great center pairing. You've got to love that second row, Maloney and Jenkins. It's a lot of beef and a lot going on in there. And the front row, it's not our first front row, but still, they've all shown themselves. And then of course we always say it about our back row, Deegan, Penny getting the captain's job, and Culhan coming into the team. He seems like a good fit. He got a couple of starts last year as well. And then of course on the bench, names like Ruddock. It's a 6-2 split on that bench. Ruddock and Connors, the likes of them able to come on. It's a lot to look forward to. All right.
Just one thing. Max Deegan, 98 caps. That's insane. Yep. And then we've got Paddy McCarthy on the bench with 0 caps. Roy Maguire, 0 caps. Lee Barnes, 7 caps. I'm just looking at the thing on the other screen. So all this stuff, all this conveyor belt is continuing on. These guys are going to get game time all the way through. So the 7 caps become 17 in the blink of an eye. Our kids grow up so fast, as you know.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's have a look at who we're up against this weekend. It is Glasgow Warriors, and that's their lineup. What do you make of it?
Look, they're doing what they can, and without being mean about it, their internationals had an extra week to recover and get their recovery done earlier on. I Stain as their captain, the bit of experience there. I'm just looking at it here. Look, it's a Leinster win. It's a great game to start. But obviously they will fancy a shot. They're at home. But I think we've got enough experience around the bench and around the team. I think midfield, second row. I think people might be playing Leinster, Munster, Connacht, and Ulster now, thinking the line out is where you attack these teams based on the Irish World Cup. So that's where the second row has a massive job. Because if you look at the Glasgow second row, Cummins and Brown, Peterson and Cummins, they're going to fancy a shot. They're going to fancy it pretty well, especially with our relatively inexperienced front row, as you said. So they're going to come. They're going to have a go. I get to say that thing I get to say after every Leinster game after this game.
Yeah, I mean, they have brought a lot back. Hugh Jones in the midfield, Xander Fagerson. There's a lot of names there. That Rory George that would have played at the World Cup. I could not notice on the bench. Duncan Weir is still playing. I mean, he must be about 85 at this stage. It's amazing, and I think they've gone for a 6-2 split as well. So it'd be interesting. On their home turf, opening game of the season, you'll expect a performance out of them. You'll expect maybe some of those Scots wouldn't mind putting it over an Irish team for the first week of a new season. So it's going to be an interesting, like you say, to see how Leinster come out and see how they play, and how Glasgow are up for it. It promises to be a good end to the weekend. All right, that's for sure. Okay, so now we move on to the officials. Craig Evans from Wales has the whistle there, and there's some Scottish and Welsh assistants there as well. The weather for Glasgow on Saturday evening is supposed to be remaining cloudy and breezy. Remaining after what? I don't know, but it's a 25% chance of rain, a little windier than it was over in Paris. We never expected the Parisian weather to make its way over to Glasgow, I suppose. So that's that. So which brings us on to, before we move on anymore, there is, of course, a lot of other rugby on this weekend with the World Cup and the URC, among other things. What one other match are you looking forward to the most?
Well, look, the beautiful thing is we get rolling again in terms of the provinces. And to start the season off in the spirit I want to continue this season, we are back on the Leinster pod. I'm looking forward to Munster and Sharks.
Yeah, and who do you think's you got to give a prediction, I suppose.
Well, I was just reading that Andrew Conway's back, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
Players like
he was
that
playing really well as well. He did well against Leinster in the friendly. Yeah.
So players like that coming back. Look, let's start off.
The
Nice.
reigning champions, so they're favorites. Yeah, they're favorites. Got to be favorites of the season, being the champions and all.
Well, you said it, so no one can be angry. Yes,
absolutely. Okay, so and your prediction for Glasgow v Leinster?
Leinster 10 +10.
Okay. And of course, we also want to wish the Irish women the best of luck in their second match in that WXC tournament. They're competing in the third tier, which is being held out in Dubai. They got off to a cracking start last week with a scoreline that looks more like a decent opening partnership at the Cricket World Cup. But they kick off against Colombia on Saturday at 2 p.m. You can watch that on Rugby Pass TV, which is totally free. Okay, so before we wrap things up, Keego, what stand-up gigs have you got lined up down the road?
So next Friday, I believe 27th, I'm in town in Dublin Inc. in Dame Street, past the Olympia, for a Bag of Cats comedy show. And then on the Saturday, the 28th, I'm heading over to New York. So we're doing the comic strip in New York, the Comedy Cellar. We're doing a few. No, it's a family holiday, so I can only squeeze in 3 gigs, but they're going to be good ones. So the Comedy Cellar, the comedy strip, and then there's I get to do 2 open mics in one day in the middle of Brooklyn. So so it's not Jenny from the block, it's Keego from the block for that week. But no, it's going to be great. See family, do Halloween over there, and then I'll be back to business the following week.
Brilliant stuff. And of course, you find the links on all that in the program notes. Well, many thanks to Keego for harping, and to you to tuning into our latest preview show. Enjoy the match wherever you are. Be sure to follow us on all the usual social media channels. We will, of course, have a wrap pod for you recording on Sunday evening. Hopefully you'll help us out by liking, sharing, and subscribing. In the meantime, stay safe, everyone. Slán.